Let's go.
All right, everybody, good morning to you and welcome. Welcome to Exploring Buddhist Concepts on a New Era TT Radio, NETT Radio. And our moderator, host inside of this session is none other than Kasi Senghor. So, Kasi, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Okay, it's a judge. I'm all right. Trying my best to do rest. What about you?
I am well, in spite of everything. I am just like everybody else. I think I'm just trying to deal with, make the best of whatever comes my way.
Okay, all right. Well, good morning to you and all the listeners. And this morning seems to have been very seamless in that, I entered and it went smoothly, unlike a few weeks ago where there was this and that. And I'm happy about the seamless entrance. So, the topic for today is do everything with a good heart, expecting nothing in return, and you will never be disappointed. Now, I didn't get this from a Buddhist. I got this on a poster from a friend this morning, and I thought it would be a good thing to talk about having a good heart, expecting nothing in return, and I will never be disappointed. So, I don't know if it has been your experience, but I hope it is, that what is being said here has worked for you as it has worked for me. Because when I practice this, when I do something with a good heart and I expect nothing in return, I don't ever be disappointed, Now, this is not something that I'm born with or, I just learned the other day or overnight. But this has come through years of practice and training and understanding myself and others as to how things really are, which is the Buddhist practice. So even though it's not a Buddhist statement or concept, it certainly bears out and comes out of Buddhist practice and conceptualizing, With you, Sir Charles, I know that you have been doing that very much on your radio program. As a matter of fact, I was thinking a while ago that one of the things that the advertisement says is wherever you go, whatever you do, tune into network radio. So it's the same thing here. Wherever you go, whatever you do it with a good heart. And expecting nothing in return, and you will never be disappointed. I've tried my best not to deal with the opposite of that statement, but maybe I will have to refer to it every now and again. Because doing things with a good heart is well, as far as I'm aware, is really not the norm. Very often we do things to suit ourselves because we want something. We really want to get something in return. Um, but say what? Those of us who more than less, then, not 100%, but more than less, do everything with a good heart, can, and expecting nothing in return, can rest assured that we will not be disappointed. Because what a good heart does here is a good heart practices um, loving kindness. A good heart practices compassion. A good heart practices joy. And a good heart practices um, impartiality or equanimity. And those are four immeasurables that we as Buddhist practitioners practice every now and again. We might spend a month on one of those immeasurables, meditating on it. And what we do, because we recognize that it is not something easy to do, what we do is we we practice with ourselves first of all. We show loving kindness to ourselves. We show a good heart, to use the words of the poster. We show a good heart to ourselves. We show a good heart to those we love dearly. A good heart to acquaintances. A good heart to those we might call enemies, and people we have done wrong to, or people who have done wrong to us, and there's a falling out or a disagreement or what have you. We train with all of these folks, beginning with ourselves, so that by and by, loving kindness or good heart becomes second nature then, or you might say first nature, or one might say develops. Well, you can't develop Buddha nature, but recognize. And really and truly, it has been my experience that when I do things like that, expecting nothing in return, I'm never disappointed. As a matter of fact, what happens when I do things with a good heart, expecting nothing in return, is that things happen to support things that I might be doing, either in that area from that person or from elsewhere. In other words, that's what people say, like, you do good here and somebody does good for you there. And you go along life happily then, because you know that whatever turns up in your life will be good fortune. Now, we would wish that this could be 100%, but alas, it is not so. Just the other day, I approached someone who was selling on the street, and I wanted to find out, well, like what was she selling and what was she saying, because I couldn't make out what she was saying properly, and immediately she was a bit, she was unfriendly, to use a kind word. She was unfriendly. I don't know why. Maybe she's not accustomed to being approached like that. Because I simply ask, what did you say? And what are you selling? And, the response was unkind. So, had I been obviously expecting something different then, I would really have been disappointed. But I didn't really expect anything at all, to be honest. I wasn't taken aback by the fact that this is how she responded. Because I see her regularly on the streets, and she's selling something, what I don't know, maybe pens, maybe sweets, whatever, what have you. And I can figure out immediately that she has been um, abused, and she's not grown up in a very good way, and therefore she could be a bit hostile. Always the first time that I really approached her, you know, but there it was, you get that kind of response, and sometimes you do get that kind of response where you least expect it, from people who you least expect to get it from. And this is where the real test comes in, How do you respond? What do you take it in a good way? As they say here, expecting nothing in return, and you will never be disappointed, you know. But we know disappointment comes in life. Ever so often, disappointment arises in our lives in various forms. We want the best for ourselves, our children, our families, and when we don't get this best, we do become disappointed. But it is how we respond to that disappointment really that I think that the poster is referring to. How do we respond to that disappointment? Do we take it upon ourselves to avenge, revenge, hit back, do something about it? That is not the best thing to do, or whatever. We read about those things happening very often. Personally, I have become so kind of fed up with reading about these incidents of responses to disappointments, with regard to children fighting, parents avenging, workers taking things into their own hands and doing whatever they think is best. We live in a society where a lot of that happens. And I do believe that is one of the reasons, or maybe the main reason, why posters like these are needed. Not that everybody will take it to heart and begin overnight to expect nothing in return. Because that might be hard to do, because we do expect things to happen in return. If I send my child or my grandchild to sit CSE, I do expect that child will pass, and that child will probably get take the choice, the first choice that he wanted. And if that doesn't happen, a big disappointment can arise. I do expect that if a friend of mine or family of mine is going up for a promotion somewhere and doesn't get it, I can join with that family or friend in expressing disappointment if it doesn't happen. I may commiserate with the person, show empathy, and so on and so forth. These things are very circumstantial, and it's not hard and fast, but many circumstances surround what these outcomes might be. And then there are larger ones and there are smaller ones. You know, I might have referred to some of the smaller ones. And we have the larger ones um, in terms of the politics or the finances or individual finances, for instance. When people rob us, or there's a home invasion, or there's a murder. These are big happenings in our society. And is it that we expect nothing in return? People expect justice. We say it all the time. People expect justice. Do we always get it? No, we don't always get it. And are we disappointed when we don't get it? Of course we are. Some people throw their hands in the air and say, well, what can we do? Crime will always be with us. Some people throw their hands in the air and say, well, um, what do we do? It's karma. Some people throw their hands in the air and say, what can we do? You it has reached home at last, and it's now my turn to experience this or that, as the case might be. You know. So as I was saying earlier, it's not easy to approach a topic like this purely in the positive, which is really what I would like to do. I would really love to sit here and say, well, look, those of us who expect nothing in return are going to get nothing in return. That's the next thing. Because oftentimes, what we want, we don't get. Oftentimes, we get what we don't want, and so it goes. And that is what you might say makes the world go wrong. Here am I with a fortunate circumstance and an ability to spread the word of the Buddha, with an opportunity, I should say, to spread the word of the Buddha. And hopefully, well, I do believe I'm doing it with a good heart. And I'm expecting, really, what am I expecting? That people will listen, that people will take it to heart, that people will investigate, But here the person is saying expect nothing in return. So if I were to put aside those expectations, it means therefore that I would not be disappointed. And is that okay?
Yes, you can.
Huh?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
What are you saying, Sir Charles? Could you expand on that? Sir Charles?
Yes, Cassie. Yeah. What did you say that you asked me to move forward with something? That you're asking me to move forward with something, or unless I misunderstood what you were saying.
No, well, I was making my statement there, and I heard you say something, and
Oh.
I was asking if you could expand on it. Yeah, I think you said yes, we can.
Oh no! I thought I heard you say something else. Sorry about that. I'm
Uh,
trying to do some other things in between here talking with you also. But go ahead.
all right, okay. Let me see. Was it time? So I got
Yeah, you can proceed, Kasi.
on the poster. Proceeding sessions. I hope you are hearing me, even though you are doing something in between, which I understand. That's not a problem. I am proceeding. Suppose we were to break up the what is said on the poster into three parts. You know, the last part being, and you will never be disappointed. And you examine that and you realize, well, that is difficult because there are things that you will feel disappointed about. And as I said earlier, it's not just that you feel disappointed, but how you respond to the disappointment now. That's another story. You know, because even when you do feel disappointed, there is that other portion of the disappointment that when you can respond in a certain way to your disappointment. So what do you do? All right. So I touch a little on that. You throw your hands up in the air, etc., etc. So let's put that aside for the moment and simply say, um, do everything with a good heart, expecting nothing in return, and leave it there. Supposing, supposing that's what the poster said, and that was all in it. Do everything with a good heart, expecting nothing in return. Well, what is my experience in that period? I remember when I was not even a practitioner, but very curious about Buddhism, and I used to on computers had just come in, and I was one was available to me at work, and I used to I requested them to receive quotes from Buddhism for some reason I don't know, because as I said I wasn't even Buddhist as yet, but I requested quotes from Buddhism. And one of the main ones that I received, which always stuck in my head, is simply two words: expect nothing. And as I said, at that time, the computers just came in, were now coming in. We were now learning how to use them and so on in the office and that kind of thing. And here I was tuning into, I think now we will call it a website, tuning into that and getting that kind of quotation. Expect nothing. And, you know, I really worked with it, mentally, to try and see how best is that practical, is that workable. I liked it because I saw that if you expect nothing, you'll be freeing up the mind. Even at that point, as I said, not even being Buddhist, but I saw that if you expect nothing, the mind will be free enough then to do so much more. So I kind of took it to heart, and toyed with the idea and used it in poetry and, looked for it in other literature to see what other people thought about the idea of expecting nothing, you know. Well, at that time there wasn't, for me at least, any YouTube or any such thing. But and there wasn't much literature that I could have pointed to say, well, look, this person is talking about having no expectations and so on. And there was much spiritual literature then, if I could put it like that, that would help either to question that statement of expect nothing, to deny it, to forward it, to support it also. So in a sense, then I was kind of left alone to work it out in my own mind. What does that mean? Because it was just a quote and there wasn't any commentary like there are today. Because there are a lot of Buddhist quotes today, but they come with commentaries. That wasn't the case, but at least at that time when I was getting quotes from Buddhism, I just got it straight in. So, supposing, as I was saying, the poster came saying, do everything with a good heart, expecting nothing in return. Let us suppose that I got that as a follow-up to the quotation that I did get when computers just came in, which says, expect nothing. Now the addition is about doing something with a good heart. And then I would now have to have a look at what does that mean? Or, I mean, what is this good heart all about? Because remember, at that time now, I didn't know anything about love and kindness and compassion and mindfulness and all of that. Um, of course, I knew what a good heart meant, mainly from parents. There were other sources I would like to think, maybe teachers, because I was in a Roman Catholic college. So that there would have been some talk about good heart and, where you would land up when you died with a good heart and that kind of thing. So there was at least some literature, some talk about what is good heart, because I never really, to be honest, took much for granted. I always want to examine, like I'm examining now, this poster that I received this morning. I always want to look at it, hopefully with fresh eyes, with unbiased eyes, and to think what it means, not just for myself, but for family and friends and others, just generally speaking, that what would it mean? What does it mean to the sender, the person who sent it to me? What does that poster mean? And as I'm dealing here now with the center sentence, I've broken it up into three. So the center statement, expect nothing in return. What does that mean to the sender? You know, do I suppose I say, okay, well, I wouldn't even bother to respond to that then. would I be would that be a good thing to do? Would I be found wanting? Would it be like I have dismissed this and that? And I ain't even reply to say, well, I like the poster. It means this to me or that to me. Well, before I proceed, I must say that I did respond and told the sender that I would probably be using it as today's topic, which is what I'm doing, because I really wanted to. It was in my mind then for a little while to do something more on the good heart side of things, in spite of the fact that even doing things with a good heart could bring suffering. You see, like I pointed out with the young lady who I approached there, I think with a good heart. Because, I've been, seeing her all the time, and I said, look, maybe I could help somehow, give something, purchase something. And here it was that I got a standoff then. It was like it was like a it was a harsh response. And unexpected, but there it was. What do I do? Well, what I did was simply listen, accepted it, and moved on. Because there was nothing else I could do. I wasn't, there was nothing for me to do, like, preach, stay there and preach or try to correct anything or so, this is what happened and this is what happened and move on. And that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to find out certain things. You weren't getting it, and well, okay, move on. So that would be the center of the thing, expecting nothing in return. You know what I mean? I am saying all of this hopefully with you in mind, thinking about how these things affect you, as a person and what your responses, and if you could identify with them, what do you do? So I am in fact encouraging a deeper examination of what the poster is saying. And because I know for many of us, we receive posters like this every morning that try to motivate us in some form or fashion and say things like this poster is saying today to me. Expect nothing in return. Suppose I left out in return. Well, that would take me back to my original quotation, which I was referring to when computers just came in, and I said at a point in a colloquial way, I went with my fast investigating Buddhist uh, uh, quotations without even having any idea about what Buddhism was or what have you. However I was introduced to them, I can't remember, but I know I got quotations every day for a long time, and this was one of them. Expect nothing, and here it is in this poster too. Expect nothing. Hmm, you know, I'm leaving out in return. Just expect nothing. I mean, what you could say? You could say, well, what in France? I mean, what going on here? Expect nothing. I mean, I put it out my good heart, trying to do something good for you, and you telling me expect nothing, or seen as that, kind of way. Now, supposing even further that we leave that out, that we leave out that center sentence that says, expect nothing in return. And the poster only said, and suppose the person sent a poster that said only do everything with a good heart and left it there. What would be our response to that now? Would we say, okay, I'll do that, I'll try to do that, that is hard to do, I've tried that already, it doesn't work. People can be so cruel. you know, we could go to town on that, just that portion alone. Do everything with a good heart. First of all, You have to have a good heart. And that apparently, well, in Buddhism, having a good heart is not something that we take for granted because we know in Buddhism, from looking at our minds, we know that there is greed, there is anger, and there is let's call it delusion then, or illusions, fantasies. And these three, sometimes they are called poisons, these three poisons um, affect our lives in a great way, and these three poisons um, relate to the second noble truth. So we come back again to that, to these noble truths where we started this program, based on what the Buddha taught and what he taught first. And what he taught first is that there is suffering, there's a cause of suffering, there's a cessation to suffering, and the path to the cessation is called the Eightfold Path. So in the cessation of suffering, we have to cease being greedy, angry, and deluded, you know, being fooled and fooling ourselves about things. And that might be the most difficult area, the delusion for some, or for many, I should say, because another way of putting that is being ignorant. And what that ignorance means is that we are ignorant of the way things truly are. We are ignorant of the way things really are. So doing everything with a good heart might presuppose, well, does presuppose in Buddhism that a good heart, we take it for granted then that we are all equipped with a good heart. Now, at one level, that might be true, that we are equipped with a good heart. But do we know it? Do we experience it? Do we live from it? More importantly. And therefore, the poster raises questions like that. Do we live from it? Being, and in my mind, the most important question of all. Do we live from this good heart so that we can do everything from it? And when we examine ourselves and we are honest with ourselves, we see that this is not the case. In the main, we, we more or less live from, let me repeat them, or maybe I could ask you to repeat them. We live from, yes, and, yes, and, yes. Because I heard you say we live from greed, we live from anger, and we live from delusion or illusion or ignorance. Let me be more careful again and repeat that what we mean here by ignorance is that we do not see things as they really are. We see them through our very finite lenses, rose-colored lenses, some people call them. We see things as we would like them to be, then, not as they really are. And of course, that causes problems because how we would like them to be It's not compatible with how they really are. So, so we examine that first section of the poster, do everything with a good heart. We try to examine all around, all around, everything with a good heart. What is everything? Whether you are going to work or whether you are at home, you should turn on your radio to NETT radio TT. Right? This is the request of my host, Sir Charles. This is his request. Keep your radio locked on. Now he is saying that, and with a good heart, because he knows that what he has to offer is helpful to the citizenry of our country. The people who are hearing him say that will feel, however they will feel, okay, we will try to do everything with a good heart, whether we are at work or we are at play or whether, how the advertisement go, grab your doubles or your favorite drink, I think it says, so we do everything with a good heart. When Sir Charles comes on here and he begins to motivate us, definitely he's doing that with a good heart. When he asks us to listen to various speakers who comes on during the morning time, who comes on in the afternoon, all of that is being done with a good heart. And as I approach the end of this of today's presentation, I want to leave you with a statement here that says, this is a Buddhist statement, that whatever we do because we want to be happy. And this is everything. Everything meaning everything we do. We do it because we want to be happy. So you may jump to say, well, murder, if we murder because we want to be happy. Buddhism answers yes, sir. If we blink, are we blinking because we want to be happy? Buddhism answers yes to that. Whatever we do it because we want to be happy. And one of the immeasurables, the one we call compassion. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. That's the one we call compassion. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Expands on that idea of whatever we do it because we want to be happy. And the one before it also helps us to understand that. The one before it is called loving kindness, and it says, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. So if you didn't get the difference, let me show you. Loving kindness says, excuse me, loving kindness says, may all beings be happy and have the causes of happiness. Compassion says, may everybody be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And that, my dear people, has to do with everything that we do. We do it with a good heart. And we can leave it there for today without adding the other parts of the poster. And hope that as we leave it there today, we can actually practice it by sitting or standing or walking. And as we sit, stand, or walk, we bring the mind, into the body, especially if you are sitting. To use this moment to bring the mind into the body and experience a sense of stillness, as it were. And from this stillness, we allow our attention, our awareness to go towards the breath. We send our awareness, our attention towards the breath, knowing that I am breathing in, I breathe in. Knowing that I am breathing out, I breathe out. And it is in knowing that is important here. In, out. Wherever we are, whether we are at work or on the go, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know we are breathing out. I give thanks on behalf of the Buddhist group to which I belong. I give thanks because we have asked the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha to watch over this program. I go to them, we go to them for refuge. And if there's anyone that we know who is in need of grace, of merit, of some good vibes, some healing hand, some harmonious thought, anybody who might be in need of a poster like this one, that we send that good wish out to them at this moment. You may want to give their names, whisper their names on your lips, or you may want to hold their names and faces in your heart. Choice is yours. And we use the words Sonam Devi Tamche Zipani, Tapneni Pejanam Tamche, Sudar Machi Kalap Dukari, Tikri Tole Guru Guru. And what do these words mean? through the wholesomeness generated by this presentation here today, this practice, in all beings, all sentient beings, of liberation through birth, experience liberation, freedom through birth, aging, sickness, and death. We give thanks. And I leave it there, Sir Charles.
Okay, thank you very much, Cassie, for sharing your insights. I think that's a nice way to think about it. And in spite of all that I was doing, I'm listening still, and I see you talking about doing good for others without really expecting anything in return. I kind of reflecting on it, and we are really talking about what is one of the purest forms of love that we talk about kindness without condition. And it's not always an easy thing, but we live in a world that often measures worth by what we get back, what we get in return. But there's something that's deeply rewarding, refreshing. I don't know what's the right word to use for it, about helping someone simply because you know what? It feels right in your heart and not because you are waiting for a thank you or any sort of reward. So I thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning, Cassie.
You are welcome, Sir Charles.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease.